So now you want to impound buses based on a crisis that you are fully invested in as far as being a sanctuary city. That really sounds rich. So let's get into this.
And we have just learned in the last couple of hours that the city of Chicago has impounded a migrant bus for the first time. The city council passing a measure today to start impounding buses that do not obtain a permit from CDOT and don't drop the migrants off at the designated landing zone. Now, after the vote, Mayor Johnson spoke about the need for the ordinance to make sure new arrivals are brought to an area where city employees are ready to help.
Putting these companies on notice that this blatant disregard of the city regulations will not be tolerated.
The mayor telling us tonight that multiple buses could be impounded.
Meanwhile,
Judy, right now, 25th Ward Alderman Byron Siccho Lopez has just gone into the shelter to conduct what he calls an emergency walkthrough of a place that, according to city records, houses as many as 2,300 migrants, and where, according to those we have spoken to today, there might be an outbreak of illness amongst both children and adults. From the outside, this 6-story warehouse is nothing but a nondescript building.
See, here's what we can't do. We can't say it might be an outbreak of illness. We just, what evidence do you have that that could even be a possibility unless an outbreak of illness has already happened? Let's not do that.
Along an industrial stretch of Halstead and Pilsen. But for months now, it's been housing thousands of migrants. And last night, a 5-year-old boy died following what appears to have been a medical emergency that many of those who live here say began
Which could
inside
happen indiscriminately
All right,
anytime.
guys, so we got to talk about Chicago. You know, the city that you're not supposed to talk about, right? Because woke Mayor Brandon Johnson said, if you ain't from here, then you can't talk about us, okay? However, we got to talk about Chicago because Chicago, according to Brandon Johnson, is experiencing an international problem, right? The international problem of migrants being displaced, okay? And that is severely affecting Chicago because Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is an evil, despicable man, right? He's evil and despicable because he's sending migrants to Chicago, which is a sanctuary city that says that, hey, we welcome illegal immigrants, right? So Brandon Johnson is upset and mad at Greg Abbott for doing exactly what Chicago and the mayor, Brandon Johnson, asked for. Absolutely amazing stuff, okay? And he's gonna lose his mind on Greg Abbott after being asked about a migrant dying in a shelter because there's illness being spread around among the migrants in the Chicago shelters. And again, instead of taking accountability and responsibility for the fact that, again, you said that your city is a sanctuary city and that you said that there are plenty of resources, plenty of food, plenty of things to go around to take care of the illegals, instead of actually taking responsibility and accountability, again, this guy loses his mind in the press conference over Greg Abbott busing the migrants to Chicago. Take a look.
For the family, and we are obviously deeply sorry and hurt by this loss. And it's not lost on any of us here that the conditions in which people are shown.
All right, so this guy, this is not a problem that he created, but he's going by the DNC. And he just torn the line for whatever he want to do. And notice like this just somber tone that he's doing. Bruh. I'm not one for any one person dying from unnatural causes. Nobody. I understand that Chicago is not the murder capital of the world, but bruh, you got thousands of people. No, I don't think it's thousands. I think it's hundreds. You have hundreds of people dying in your city every year. Why aren't you somber about that? Because that can be fixed. That can be fixed very easily, but one little immigrant, not to diminish human life, but this happens and you're just somber and you're just this and you're just that. Bruh, just, I'm not pointing fingers and throwing stones and all this type of stuff. I'm just pointing out the obvious.
Up in Chicago, they're worse. The last reporter just indicated they're just dropping all people anywhere. Do you understand how raggedy and how evil that is? You're just gonna put people on a bus and just take them somewhere and drop them off in the middle of the night? And then you wanna hold us accountable for something that's happening down at the border? It's sickening. And so, but just know that
you're a sanctuary city. You're a welcoming state, which you're getting exactly what you said you were. Now you have to deal with it.
that my work is, our work is not done. But let's be very clear. You know where this is promulgating from, right? You do know that, right? That you have a governor in Texas that can care less about those families and literally dropping them off, not just in Chicago, but anywhere and everywhere. It's wicked.
No, that's just not the case.
We're gathering information, as I've said before, at every single site throughout the city of Chicago. We provide on-site medical care. In fact, the county government has just put forth more dollars for more health care. But I want you to hear me good.
Bad idea.
They're showing up sick. Do you hear me? They're showing up sick. The issue is not just how we respond in the city of Chicago, it's the fact that we have a governor, an elected official in the state of Texas that is placing families on buses without shoes, cold, wet, tired, hungry, afraid, traumatized, and then they come to the city of Chicago where we have homelessness, we have mental health clinics that have been shut down and closed. You have
This dude, it sounds like a fucking fool right now. You've had years. Okay, you just got in office. You've barely been in there a year, so I'm not going to place it solely on you. But it's your responsibility now. And you made the choice to do what was necessary for the migrants as opposed to what's necessary for the homeless. Oh, but now you want to bring up the homeless. Oh, and now you're a sanctuary city inside of a welcoming state, and you're going to blame it on the Texas governor that is not a sanctuary state, city, welcoming state, but you're going to blame it on him? Bruh, it don't make sense to me and a lot of people. But go ahead and finish with your, always got to go to appearance because it's important. With your half mohawk, with you a grown old ass man, come on, bro.
have people who are seeking employment. The governor of Texas needs to take a look in the mirror of the chaos that he is causing for this country. This is not just a Chicago dynamic.
Nope.
He is attacking our country. The sensibility and the civility of our country, he is undermining that.
Who are these clowns talking about preach? This mayor is a puppet. He's a clown.
It's all good. We good. Yes.
Mayor, given what's happened at the shelter this morning and what is, we've seen more ambulances show up there, is it time to reevaluate using these warehouses as places for shelter activities?
So I want to make sure I understand your question. Hold on, I got you. I just want to repeat back to me. I'm going to repeat to you what I believe you're asking me. You're asking me, based upon an out of control governor who is sending busloads of people all over the country, you're asking if Chicago should evaluate how it handles the migrant crisis?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that we've had at least one death at this particular shelter. We've seen more ambulances show up at this particular shelter this morning. While we were there, we saw people coming out sick. Does the city need to reevaluate the practice of using the warehouses, which were never designed for human habitation, as a solution in the migrant crisis?
As I said before, they are showing up sick. Listen, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're drawing a conclusion based upon a site. What I'm simply saying is when they get here, hold on. Listen, I am saying that they're showing up sick. Are you hearing me? They're showing up sick. And so we are doing everything in our power to treat the conditions in which they're arriving in. As far as us reevaluating our mission, look, an international crisis of global population shift based upon policies that have been promulgated for the last 20 years.
Global population shift. I.e. the replacement theory. I can elaborate on that in another video, but yeah. He's starting, hopefully he's starting to say the quiet part out loud, and maybe he's getting frustrated. He hasn't been in there a year yet, but we'll see how this thing progresses.
That have caused the not just the sanctions, but have caused displacement for the entire globe. I just want us to understand in the city of Chicago, we are not alone in this crisis. There are hundreds of thousands of people being displaced from the continent of Africa, from Central and South America. So this question about reevaluating, how about we do this? How about we reevaluate all of our international policies that are causing the chaos that we're experiencing right now, and let's evaluate the sanctity of someone in Texas who disregards people. That's what we should be reevaluating.
No. Again, absolutely amazing. Absolutely.
Hold on. You're continuously placing the blame on the governor of Texas when the immigration issue is 100% a federal policy, which is your president and everybody that's involved with him. But you're going to place the blame on the governor of a state that cannot take care of all of these people. So he did the prudent thing, which makes sense to me. We're going to send them to these sanctuary cities, welcoming states, because we're not one of them. We can't take care of all these people. We've been doing all these things for all these years. You got to call out your president. You're not willing to do it. Eric Adams in New York did it, and you see he's all under all type of investigation because he called this thing out. But I gotta stop talking and let this video play a little bit more.
Absolutely amazing. I told you guys, Greg Abbott should be put in the Republican Party Hall of Fame, right? He should be in the Republican Party Hall of Fame for sending illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago, because it has exposed these people as the biggest hypocrites in the world.
That's what they do.
It's amazing to me how Brandon Johnson can sit up here with a straight face after inviting illegal immigrants to his city and then boo-hoo whine and complain about the governor of Texas doing exactly what you asked for, doing exactly what you wanted, and now you want to melt down and cry saying that he's despicable. He's despicable, he's an evil, he's a bad person because he did exactly what you asked him to do. Again, it's almost as if the sanctuary city stuff from these Democrats was nothing more than a virtue signal. They didn't really mean it. They never thought that they would actually have to deal with a border crisis. What they thought was that, oh, well, we're going to virtue signal that we love immigrants. We love illegal immigrants. We love them. And if you don't love them like us, then you're a bigot. You're racist. And Greg Abbott says, okay, bet. We're going to send the illegals to you. since you say you want them, so now you have a child that dies under your watch, okay, under your city, in your sanctuary city. Now you want to point the finger at Greg Abbott, talking about, well, they were bust here sick. Well, who's supposed to take care of them then? Texas? So is that what you're saying? You say Texas is supposed to take care of them. Nah, Texas is supposed to take care of all the sick migrants. Don't blame me. Again, it's amazing. Because again, what is the alternative? What are you actually suggesting here, Mr. Johnson? What you're suggesting is that, well, Texas, they should take care of the sick migrants. Don't blame us. They arrived here sick. So again, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to these people. Brandon Johnson has nothing to say about the policies that allowed these individuals into this country in the first place, which again are the policies of the Biden administration, but got all the smoke in the world for Greg Abbott because Greg Abbott is supposed to do something that Brandon Johnson said that he wanted to do, right? Which is to take care of the migrants. But again, now that you have a migrant, a child that dies under Brandon Johnson's watch, he doesn't want to take any responsibility and accountability for it. Oh, it's not our fault. They're showing up here sick. They're busting sick migrants to us. So again, who is supposed to take care of the sick migrants? Are they supposed to die in Texas or die in Chicago? Which one is better? Right? Because according to Brandon Johnson, apparently dying in Texas makes it better. Right? Being sick in Texas is better than being sick in Chicago. How about they just don't be sick in the United States, right? Part of the reason why they're probably getting sick is because they come from a country that climate is not like this, okay? It doesn't get this cold. And this is why, you know, I tell people the humane thing is actually to send them back, right? Because we don't have the resources to take care of them. So you want to talk about what is the humanitarian thing to do? The humanitarian thing to do is to get them a one-way ticket back. Hey, we don't have the resources to take care of you. Hey, we have people here that are upset. There's a lot of animosity that is being created because we're taking care of individuals who are not legally here in this country. We don't have the resources to continue to do this. So again, the humane thing to do, the humanitarian thing to do would be, again, to get them a one-way ticket back. Here's a little bit of money to help you out when you get there, right? So that, you know, you can, you know, get by for a little bit till you figure it out. And then next, on top of that, you close the border, right? Close the border, and then you know, hey, you got to send them back. Because look, they're not used to being in a place like Chicago where the winter is harsh. I mean, you know, I feel like I would struggle in a place like Chicago.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible. I can only imagine what they're going through. I can only imagine what these migrants are going through.
The state that I live in is very close to Chicago, and the climate is pretty much the same. Love Chicago, visit there every summer. I am not going to Chicago in the winter. No, no, no. They have all these giant buildings, and I'm sure that some of the winter weather is more harsh, you know, in their downtown in particular, and because they're right on the lake, is very harsh because of those reasons. But what does that even matter? If I'm coming, and I've done this, I'm downtown Chicago, and this happened many moons ago, many years ago. Downtown Chicago, this didn't know any better. Come around one of these buildings, turn the corner, and I was gonna curse. That wind hit me and went through my whole body. That's all I needed to know. Nah, I'm not visiting Chicago from November to April. I'm not. I'm not visiting Chicago. Again, I always say it on this channel. One of my favorite cities in the world, even though I've visited a lot of cities throughout the world. Chicago's still one of my favorite cities. Winter weather in Chicago? Nope, and no.
Going through in these shelters in this freezing cold. I feel bad for them, I really do. And again, that's why I say that the humanitarian thing to do is to send them back. But we're not gonna play this game, this silly game of Brandon Johnson, boohoo, whining and crying, trying to blame Greg Abbott for something that happened under your watch, Brandon Johnson. It happened under your watch. So you got to take responsibility. You said that you wanted the illegal immigrants, that you want them to be here in Chicago. So turning around and pointing a finger at Greg Abbott is silly to me.
It's insane.
And again, this guy has nothing to say about Biden. Nothing to say about Biden. Nothing to say about the border policies that are allowing these people into this country. Ain't got nothing to say about it. Silent.
Because the immigration issue, like I said previously, is a federal issue. That's what it is.
But got all the smoke in the world for Greg Abbott because Greg Abbott did exactly what Brandon Johnson asked for. It's crazy, man. It really is. But you know, like I said, it is what it is. I enjoy these meltdowns. It sucks. I feel bad for what's happening to these migrants. I don't think they should have came here legally. But again, I wouldn't wish the Chicago winter in some, shelter on anybody, right? Including, people who come to this country illegally. So again, that's why I try to say that the only real solution, the real humane solution, is to send them back. And until you do that and close the border, you're going to continue to see it. You're going to continue to see this type of stuff. It ain't going to end. This problem is not going to end.
So that's going to be the end of this video. You coming from a country, average temperature in the winter is in the 70s. You're in Chicago. I think the average temperature in Chicago is probably around 30, 40. You add the wind in, you include the buildings in, especially if you're around downtown or anywhere like that. It's just ridiculous. Sickness. Instant. Your body is used to things. And your body is a healing mechanism, means it's always trying to heal. It's always trying. So if it's too cold, your body's going to do certain things. If it's too hot and then it's shocked into Chicago winter, I don't know what your body's going to do, but chances are you will probably get sick.